35 of the Little Drops of Wonderful podcast. This is my channel to talk about all things crochet and knitting and crafty and yarn related, all the good stuff. My name is Ali. I live in Kent in the UK, which is the county just south of London, where I live with my husband and our two young daughters who, as of yesterday, are both back at school. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Starry Eyes Ali, and there is also a group on Ravelry for the podcast called Imaginatively Little Drops of Wonderful. So welcome, new and old. How are you? It's been a little while since I last podcasted because it was just before, well, right at the beginning of the school holidays. So I knew it was always going to be a little bit of a task to find any time whilst the kids were still off school. So I've got a lot to talk about today. Fortunately, I do put timestamps underneath this video along with all the show notes. So if you wish to jump forward or backwards or cut out any particular bit, you can using the times I put down below. Today we are going to talk about a finished object, some works in progress, some incoming things. I have no excuses for the amount of incoming things. I'm going to do a blast from the past in the style of Ellie from Craft House Magic. She always does a blast from the past, a make that she will have done at some point in her crafting history. So I'm going to do that, and I'm also going to talk about the Strictly 2018 Sock Along. So if you don't know what the Strictly Sock Along is, and you're 2 minutes into this podcast, or you're new and you're going, what's she on about? What Strictly Socks? What's a sock along? Stick around and watch that section, because I promise you, you will want to take part. I have got some incredible prizes, far more than I ever anticipated, and I can't wait to show them to you. So if you have been umming and ahhing about joining in with the Strictly Sock Along, stick around, watch that section of the podcast today, and I'm sure that will make up your mind for you. I'm also going to do a little vlog right at the end of my time in Denmark, and maybe finally little chat at the end if I have time. There's also going to be a vlog midway through about the Southern Wool Show, because on the 1st of September my sister and I travelled up to Newbury in Berkshire, and we went to the first ever Southern Wool Show at Newbury Racecourse. So I did take some video there, and I've made a little slightly different to what I usually do vlog about that. But more on that when we get to it. Oh, I've been so busy. So as I've mentioned, it's been the school holidays, and the second to last week of August we went to Denmark for a week, which is something we have been really looking forward to, particularly me. It's been a bit of a lifelong dream to go to that country, so it was absolutely incredible. We've never flown together as a family. I think the last time we were on a plane was probably when our eldest daughter was 2 years old, and she'll be 13 in March. So it's been quite a while, and it was all quite an experience, and Denmark was everything I could possibly have hoped it would be. It was an amazing country, and we are already booking our next trip back, and it's going to be just me and my husband in February next year. We're going to go for a midweek short break just to Copenhagen this time, to experience it just as adults without the kids, because we just fell in love with that country. It's a beautiful place with lovely people and an amazing way of life, and if I could move there, I would. That would be the dream. Anyway, where was I? Okay, yeah, I'm doing a podcast about knitting and yarn and crochet. It's not a travel podcast, although I will be putting the travel-y vlog in at the end, just in case you're interested. Okay, I've got the Diet Coke on the go. It's about 11:15. I've spent the last 2 hours just trying to prep for everything I want to talk to you about. It's going to be a big one, so grab a cup of tea, grab whatever project you're working on, get some biscuits, settle in, and we'll get started. I've got lots of notes down here, so just to keep me on the straight and narrow, otherwise I'm going to forget everything. Let's kick things off with my finished object. I have one finished object that I want to share with you, and I am so pleased with this. This is my first thing off the needles for the knit whip cowl, which is a cowl with the intention of finishing as many of your 2018 projects as you can before we go into 2019. It's being run by Amy of Exterminate, and this is my first thing off of the needles for that cowl. It really motivated me, well, that motivated me, and the fact that this was an amazing pattern. The pattern is the Memory Keepers Shawl, before I show you, by Lina Knits. It's a paid for pattern, and it is designed to use up scraps or minis or leftover sock yarn or 4-ply yarn, any 4-ply yarn, and you hold it double with one colour of neutral yarn throughout. And this is what it looks like when you use, I used 20, no, not 20, what am I talking about? I think I used 17 different colours, 17 different minis, and you start here, and I'm never going to be able to see, here it is, it goes all the way down. It is absolutely enormous. Let's wrap it around. I mean, I cannot wait for the weather to be cold enough that I could be snuggled on the sofa in this. It's so huge, it's so huge, it's so soft, it's so snuggly, and it's been a pleasure to work on, and I'm now wrestling with it, as you can see. It's just been an absolute joy to work on. The minis that I used were all in a bag of minis, a gift from Sandra of the Cherry Heart podcast, which she sent to me after in May, which was the month that my dad died. So, and that was a really, really beautiful gift to receive at a very, very sad time. And I wanted to put it into something that I knew I would have a lot of use out of and a lot of pleasure from. So, and I've enjoyed every moment of this pattern. I've got 13 of the 30 minis that Sandra sent me left, and they're all in this lovely little bag that Sandra made. And Sandra sells on her Etsy shop the pattern for making this bag, which I need to go and get because this is the perfect little sock size bag. So she sent this to me, and it was full of minis. It's now not so full of minis because I've used them, and I used them in my Memory Keepers Shawl in the order that I opened them. So I opened them as an advent calendar throughout June. So not really an advent calendar, but a yarn calendar throughout June, and on each of the little labels I wrote the day that I'd opened them, and then I did day 1 to day 17 for this, which means I've got day 18 to 30 or 31 left in here. So I've actually got enough to make an entire other project, and I do have something in mind, but I'm not going to talk about it yet because I'll just get carried away in more stuff that I want to make. So I've got all my little minis in here, safe and sound, waiting for their to become what they're going to become. And in the meantime, I've got my beautiful finished Memory Keepers Shawl. I knit this using, let's have a look now, 6mm needles, Knit Pro Zings, and I kept, these are all of the little tags that Sandra put on the yarn. So I've numbered them and I've stapled them together. So when I update my Ravelry page later today, I'm going to write down every single yarn that I use. My particular favourite bit, I like the way when you use minis like this in a unplanned order, that it throws together colours that you wouldn't have otherwise put together or expected that you would have loved. So there are whole sections where I might not have put purple and like luminous yellow together, but I absolutely, oh that's the wrong side, I absolutely love how it looks. So you have these stocking stitch panels, and then you have the moss stitch or seed stitch panels as well, and you have eyelet rows, and at the end you bind off with a I-cord bind off. By the end you've got almost 350 stitches, so that was quite the thing, but I love doing the I-cord bind off. And as it turns out, my last mini was this green, which I can tell you that second to last one is Fine Fish Yarns, which was part of a set of minis that Sandra got. Oh, I didn't use 17, I used 18 because the 18th colour is Yantan Tether Yarns in the Zingtastic colourway, which is what ended up being used for the I-cord bind off. So I finished off my green and then I joined in the orangey one, and my I-cord bind off is therefore done in this zingy orange, and I really love how that looks against the green. I just think that's lovely. Right at the end I ran out of the light grey Drops Flora that I was using, and I had to dive. I think I used some grey sparkly yarn from Lay Family Yarns that was part of a sock set. I literally had that much to do with the I-cord bind off, and honestly I couldn't even tell you where it is now. I just have to look for the tiny little bit of sparkle that reminds me I lost Yarn Chicken by about that much, but you can't see it at all. I also made a couple of mistakes on the I-cord edge that you do as you're knitting it, but I've got some really lovely, look, there's one of my mistakes. I don't know what I did, but I managed to wrap. I'm too far away from the camera today, I have to stand up. I managed to wrap, you see that bit there, so it should be the I-cord and it's wrapped. So what I'm going to do is, at Barbara of Knitting I Love's suggestion, I've got some of her tags that she sells that you can put on finished garments, and I'm just going to pop a little tag over that and it will just hide it, not that you notice it anyway. And I did something similar somewhere else, but again I can't even see it now, but if it bothers me I'll put a little, oh here it is. This one's a bit worse actually. I dropped some stitches and I couldn't put them back together properly, so there's a little error there, but I'm going to sew one of the tags around it, which will just look like a nice little finishing touch at the same time as hiding my mistakes. If only every mistake in life was as easily hidden. So there you go, the Memory Keepers Shawl. I love it. It's not quite cold enough to wrap up in it yet. There is a definite change in the air. The mornings are crisper. The sun is lower in the sky. There was condensation on the outside of the windows this morning, so it was obviously quite a cold night. And there's just that change in the air that us autumn people can sense. Autumn is coming. Okay, so is there anything else that I need to say about that pattern other than the fact it's fantastic and I might make another one because I enjoyed it so much? No, I think that's it. We'll move on to works in progress. So I'm not going to go through all of my works in progress. Specifically, I'm not going to be talking about my corner to corner crochet blanket, my nighttime crocheted shawl that I'm doing. I'm just doing a very basic simple crocheted shawl, and it's a thing that I do last thing at night whilst I'm too tired to do anything else. I'm making a knitted top for my eldest daughter, which has caused me all manner of problems, and what's the word? It has tested my staying power, let's say, because I've not been enjoying it and I really do need to crack on and finish it. And I keep setting myself little deadlines like it will be finished by the time we go to Denmark. No. And also my crochet granny square multiplication blanket, which is a granny square of my own devising. I need to crack on with that, but I'm not talking about those because I've got other things to talk about, and they're all socks. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is my afterthought everything socks. Now this is not, I'm not following any particular pattern yet. I just decided with leftover yarn from knitting my sister some socks earlier in the year that I would use it all up and make a tube. So I started with a little bit of dark grey little French Meadow yarn, which I got in their mini skein club, and then I joined in the little French Meadow Cheer Up Buttercup colourway. I did my rib and then I just knit. Some of the yarn here was knit from part of a sock that I had started for her but didn't like the the size it was coming out, so I unravelled it into this sock and then I joined back. So you can actually see the bit where I knit from the already knit sock, and the bit where I knit directly from the ball is quite different. Smooth and wibbly. Smooth, wibbly. Also at one point I was stuck. I would normally do a Russian join when joining in yarn, but I was at the beach and I didn't have a needle, so I just tied a knot. And what I've done is I've stitch marked where the knot is, so I know when I put the heels in to maybe keep the knot towards the top of the foot rather than the underside of the foot. Not that I think I'll feel it, but just in case. I finished my tube on the plane on the way back from Denmark, and it has presented an issue, and I'm going to have to rip back and sort it out, and I'm going to show you what that issue is now. When I started this tube, I cast on magic loop, 2.25mm magic loop needles, and this is the rib that I got. After I did the rib, I switched to 2.25mm, so the same millimetre, same brand, 9-inch short circular needles, so I could just go round and round and round and round and round and knit my tube. When I came to cast off on the plane, I'll show you the difference with my 9-inch circulars. Look at the difference there. I'm going to stand up so I can see what I'm showing you. So this one cast on with magic loop, this one cast off with 9-inch short circulars. Let's put those together. 9-inch short circulars, magic loop. Now obviously the casting off on the rib and casting on the rib is going to present a slightly different finish. That's fine, but the tension is completely different. This is absolutely awful. It's awful. So what I'm going to do is rip back to just before where I started the rib, and I'm going to join in my magic loop, and I'm going to magic loop the rib with those needles, because I think, looking at it, that my tension is actually better with magic loop than it is with 9-inch short circulars. Now I really like 9-inch short circulars because I like to just go round and round and round and round, but actually I think it's affecting my gauge, and I think it's affecting my ability to knit well. I think I'm a bit sloppier on the 9-inch short circulars. So yeah, I'm going to go back and see if it makes a difference to do the final rib and cast off with the magic loop and report back. So my sock knitting preferences might be changing, and something where that is evident is, so that was all knit on my 9-inch short circulars, apart from the bit at the beginning and the bit that I'm going to redo, which has always until now really been my preferred method. I've also really liked knitting toe-up socks. So next specimen in the sock knitting discussion is, these are toe-up socks using yarn left over from when I made my buttercup socks by Ellie of Craft House Magic. I had enough yarn left over, I think, I'm pretty positive, to make an entire other pair of socks. So I'm knitting them toe up just to make sure I do have enough. But this is how far I've got. I'm not far off starting the, I'm not a few rounds yet, but not far off doing the heel. And I've got this amount of yarn left for each one, so I'm gonna be fine. I'm not going to do a contrast heel, and I'll probably just do a little contrast band at the top of the rib when I cast off. So that's fine. The pattern I am using is the Enchanted Socks, which is a lovely simple pattern by Naomi of Cozy Cute Knits, and the yarn is another little French Meadow yarn. I think the colour is looking a bit kind of bleached out. I think maybe if I hold them back here it might look a better colour, but the colour is beautiful. It's called Hawthorn Blossom, and it's by Little French Meadow, and the mini that I'm using with it, it wasn't sold as a set, it was actually just on their stand at Festival, and I just loved it, and they said that that green was actually the same green they used for the speckling. So I'm really liking how those are coming out, and I'm liking the fact that I'm going to get 2 pairs of socks out of the same beautiful yarn, and they are being knit magic loop, which I do quite enjoy magic loop. Actually, I don't think I do enjoy doing them 2 at a time like this. I'd rather do them separately but concurrently rather than on the same thing. I think I'd do them quicker. But obviously when you have the magic loop needles, the needles themselves are quite long, whereas when you have your short circular needles, the actual needles, I don't know if so the actual needles part of the short circulars are very short, see? And I think actually I'm beginning to prefer having the longer needles in my hands rather than the little ones. I think that's what makes my tension better. So those are the enchanted socks, and they are living in one of my favourite dodgy bags that I made. It's made from some fabric I got years ago from eBay, and the mustard colour is a cushion I got in a charity shop, and I even reused the zip from that cushion. And I really like this bag. Then I decided to cast on some socks for the bake-off socks, which is something that Kelly from Lay Family Yarn did last year and I didn't. It's just an informal knit night. You knit whatever you like really during the British Bake Off. And I decided, oh, I'd quite like to do that. So I cast on some socks during the first episode of the British Bake Off a couple of weeks ago, but then I got addicted to them and I haven't put them down. So now they're not really my Bake Off socks, they're more my I'm just knitting them all the time socks. But what's different about them is, so I'm using Kelly's yarn. It's the Samba colourway, which she dyed last year as we were coming up to the Strictly Sock Along, and sent to me as she sent me 2. She sent me this one, which is Samba, and another one, which was the Argentine Tango, and one of them was for a prize, and I let the winner choose, and the winner chose the Argentine Tango, so I got the Samba, because I couldn't decide, it was too difficult, they were both too beautiful. It's actually a sock set, but I don't think I'm going to do contrast anything, because the pattern I am making is a free pattern, and it's shorty socks, and it's by lovely Lily of the Nordic Stitches podcast. It's part of her Summer Shorties collection, which is a paid for collection, but the beachfront socks, as far as I can remember, I think I've got this right, were actually a freebie, so you can get this particular pattern is free. It's black and white here. My sister made a pair and I thought they were absolutely beautiful. I've also seen a lot of people on Instagram making these, and I've never made a proper pair of shorty socks before, and I'm keeping this in my little bag that Naomi from Cozy Cute Knit sent me. How cute is that? I love tiny little sock bags that I can just pop in my handbag and just, you know, grab whenever I want, and they just fit socks in perfectly. And there's a little needle holder. I'm going to try and do this carefully. A little needle holder that she sent me as well. But when she sent it to me, I thought, oh, that's so beautiful. I really like it. If only I could use it, because I never use DPNs. Da, da, da. I'm using DPNs. So I have DPNs because I bought them when I first started sock knitting, when I was trying to work out what I was going to do and how to do it. And the pattern by Lily is actually written for DPNs, although obviously you can easily convert it for however you prefer. But I thought, no, I'm going to give it a go. And yeah, I must admit, casting on was troublesome. But once I got into the hang of it, I actually started to quite enjoy it. Where's my 5th needle? This is the problem I have though. I keep losing needles. So I've just opened that up. Where's my 5th blooming needle? Did I drop it? One moment. Right, okay, so we're down a needle for some reason, which means it's probably stuck in the sofa in the living room somewhere. So I've been knitting, I keep my stitches on 4 and I knit with the 5th, and I'm really pleased with myself. And this is part of the reason I've been really addicted to it, is not only is the pattern addictive, it's a 3-row repeat, so it's really easy to get into the hang of, and the yarn, oh my giddy aunt, look at that yarn. How gorgeous is that? I just love it. I'm just looking at it on the screen going, I want to go and knit it. I want to go and knit it now. So, but it's the yarn is gorgeous. The pattern is addictive. But it's the needles, even though I keep getting them all in the wrong position and I have to keep moving them and go, oh, why are you there? I'm going to need to move you out of the way and I'm not quite sure what's happening. And I have on occasion, one just has fallen out as I'm knitting on another one and I have to pick up all the stitches in the lace section going, oh, nobody breathe. Does anyone else do that when you drop something? Just no one move. I've got to pick up the stitch. But despite all of that, I've just loved it. I'm a little bit addicted, and my tension with these needles, I really like. I think it's really, I'm normally quite a loose knitter, and this has really brought my tension a little bit tighter, and therefore it's looking a little bit neater. So watch this space, I could be converted. But I'm definitely, I think, growing away from the short circulars. I think I'm starting to prefer other methods, which I guess is something that comes in, well, you know, with practice, and also probably comes in waves. You have something you prefer one time and then later on you might prefer something else. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that lovely project. So that's my 3 works in progress that I'm going to talk about. All socks. And of course I'm going to be casting on more socks soon for the Strictly Sock Along, which I shall talk about, not just yet, but later. Before we move on to Strictly Sock Along news, I'm going to share with you some incoming things. Now, I'm going to have to split my incoming things. I'm going to show you some now, and I'm going to show you some when I talk about some prizes for the Strictly Sock Along, because some of the people that sent prizes sent a couple of little extras for me, which was completely unexpected and wonderful. And I'm also going to save some to talk about in the next podcast, which will be in 2 weeks' time, because otherwise I think it will just get a bit boring with me just showing you stuff that I bought, because I have no excuses for this. It's just pure yarn gluttony. Yeah. So I think we'll do it in the order in which the stuff has come in. And I've also, as part of this, made a little vlog about the Southern Wool Show, because obviously I bought some stuff there. Which includes some of the things I purchased and some of the things my sister purchased. But before we do that, I'm going to show you the yarn I bought, or the things that I bought whilst I was in Denmark. So in Copenhagen, there's quite a lot of yarn shops, but the one that I really like the look of and that have been recommended to me by a few of my lovely podcast viewers was the summer. Right, okay, so everyone in Denmark, prepare to laugh at me as I pronounce everything wrong for the next 5 minutes. So the yarn shop is Sommerfuglen, which I probably said wrong, which for my limited Danish thing, I think means the butterfly. But correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't Googled it yet. But I'm pretty sure because I know Fuglen is the bird, I think. So I'm guessing there's a picture of a butterfly. So I'm deducing that means the butterfly. And this is the bag that I got. And I did have a good look around, and my kids were getting really bored and annoyed and wanting to go for food and stuff. And it was Phoebe that actually found this yarn almost as soon as we went in. And it was at the end of our little trip there that I decided to go back and get it as my souvenir yarn. And when I did, the lady in the shop told me that it's actually hand dyed by a local dyer. And the yarn that I bought it's hand dyed yarn, which is, I'm not even going to try to say that in Danish, but it looks like hand farvet garn. It's superwash merino, that just merino. And there's a hashtag on the front here, but I'm not sure if that's the colour or not. But that's what it says on the front of it. It's all handwritten, the label, look at that. And the dyer has an Instagram, which I'm going to put on the screen now. But there it is, handwritten. And she has an absolutely beautiful Instagram feed. It really is worth going to have a look. So this is the yarn that I bought. I wanted to buy something that was a little bit out of my usual colour choice. So I went for this. It's a very pale biscuity colour with sort of mauve and bright pink speckles, but it's very, very subtle. It's beautiful. And what I have in mind for it is some kind of little scarf or shawl. And to go with it in the same colour, I bought 70% kid mohair, 30% silk by the same dyer in the same, well, or in a complementary colour. It's very, very subtle. So those two together are going to be my very, very precious, very, very soft reminder of our wonderful, wonderful time in Denmark. And the shop itself was just gorgeous. It had an entire wall of hedgehog fibres. It had Madeleine Tosh. It had just all kinds of wonderful stuff like that. But I can get things like Madeleine Tosh and hedgehog fibres and things from shops in the UK, and I really wanted to get something that I could only get in Copenhagen, so I'm absolutely thrilled to it. And these were the last two, the last ones in the shop, so I'm absolutely thrilled with those. That is my holiday purchase. I also got at the airport on the way home. Now I'm completely copying here. Hang on a minute. Let me get me notes. Lupin Lane Handmade. Okay, so Lupin Lane Handmade I follow on Instagram, and she had been to Cornwall, and as she was saying that she likes to bring a souvenir home, but she's got enough stuff. She doesn't need to just bring another ornament or fridge magnet home. So she bought tea towels from Cornwall and she made them into project bags. And I just thought that's an amazing idea. So when we were at the airport, there wasn't a great selection at the airport. And actually I wish I'd chosen the other one that I saw, because this is a Copenhagen tea towel. And it says Copenhagen in Danish at the bottom. So I'm going to cut this in such a way that I can make one, possibly two, or one large project bag out of it, because then I've got something useful and something that reminds me of our time there. And it was only like a £5 or something at the airport, so yeah, I thought that was a really good idea, so I copied her completely. And also I saw today that she's filmed a podcast. I don't know if she's actually managed to press publish on it yet. She said she was editing it, but yeah, Lupin Lane Handmade, she filmed a podcast, so I must go and check that out later to see if she's managed to do that. So those are my purchases from Denmark. I'm gonna run out of places to put this. By the way, if you've left a comment on my last video, or you've sent me a message on Ravelry, just picking hair off of myself, or anything like that, and I haven't got back to you, I do apologise. I've been so busy with the kids off of school and other things going on and just trying to get organised. I've really neglected things like that, so I will be getting back to everybody who has sent me a message as soon as I can. And I have read them, I just haven't got round to replying yet. I'm going to have to do something about how to collate like incoming messages, because Ravelry's good, that is fine, but if you read it, it kind of falls further and further down, so you have to remember to mark it as unread, and then the more you mark as unread, the more overwhelming it gets. It's not quite the same as being able to order emails or categorise them. So anyway, apologies for my tardiness in responding to things, and I will get round to it this week, I promise. Where were we? Oh, right in the middle of the yarn gluttony, that's right. So that's what I bought from Denmark, and I don't know what shawl or scarf I'm going to make with that yarn, but I'm going to hold it double, obviously, so it'll probably be a one skein project. And I wanted to remind you that on the back of my last giveaway, everybody gave ideas for one skein projects, and I have collated every single one, hopefully, of those ideas from the thread into a one skein project bundle, which includes knitted items and crocheted items. So if you go along to the Little Drops of Wonderful group, there is a one skein bundle there, and if you have anything that you think would be good to add to it, send me the link to the project on Ravelry and I'll add it to that bundle, because it's full of amazing projects, and I've already been kind of drooling over it for all my sort of precious single skeins of yarn that I've got. Yeah, because I need to start using them, because I'm running out of room, especially after the yarn purchases I've been making. Right, after I got home, I placed an order with Ellie of Craft House Magic, which I will share with you next time. But as part of that order, I had to put in a pin. And this is her Hey Barbara pin. Now, if you don't watch Ellie of Craft House Magic, you won't know what this means. If you do, you'll be laughing your head off. Ellie is a fantastic sewer. She makes her own clothes. She's even making a bra, her own bra. And to help her in her sewing, she has a dressmaker's dummy called Barbara. And every week on her podcast, she always says, okay, I'm going to show you my sewing, but I need to get Barbara in. And then she'll look off to the side and she'll go, come on, Barbara. And then it will flash to her having Barbara next when she talks to Barbara. I love it. It just makes me smile so much. And she's released the Hey Barbara pin, so I had to have that. So thank you so much, Ellie. And I will share my other purchases next time. But I just had to share the Hey Barbara pin. I also bought some things from Little French Meadow. So as I know I keep mentioning it, but as you know, we're going to be running the Strictly Sock Along. And lovely Sam has dyed some beautiful, beautiful yarn, especially for this year's Sock Along. And I've got that to share with you a bit later, along with some other things that she's been doing. And then Alison and Yola, who are Little French Meadow, contacted me and said, we've dyed up some colours. We've dyed up some Strictly colours for this year's Sock Along. And I love the Little French Meadow yarn. So I went along to their shop to have a look at the colours, and they've done 4. And I liked them all, and I couldn't decide which one I wanted to get. I wanted to see them all in real life, and I was like, oh, I don't know, I can't choose, it doesn't seem fair. So I just bought all 4. That's quite bad, isn't it? I just bought all 4. I better show them to you so that you understand why I had to do it. So these are the first 2 I bought, and they've all got Strictly names. This is called She Was a Showgirl. They're all sock sets. So pretty. And look at that red. I don't know if it's going to come out on camera, but it is a proper red, proper bright ruby red with that beautiful purpley, pinky, reddy, tealy. She Was a Showgirl. And the other one, this one, is called Flamenco, and I don't know why, but it reminds me of the Snowman. You know, the Raymond Briggs cartoon, The Snowman. It just reminds me of that. The colour, that blue is the richest royal blue, and these blues are just, I don't know, they're just Christmassy to me. So I'm tempted to make Christmassy socks with this, even though it's a Strictly yarn. And it came with a tiny little stitch marker as well. They always put in a little little sunflower stitch marker. And then the other stuff, so Alison and Yola both dye for Little French Meadow, but they split the dyeing. So some of the colourways are dyed by Alison and some of them are dyed by Yola. And they actually don't live near each other. They live quite far apart. It's quite amazing, actually, that they run the business so successfully, but living apart. So that was the yarn that came from Yola, I think. Forgive me, girls, if I've got that wrong. And then the yarn that came from Alison is this one. So there's 2 here as well. This is Viennese Waltz, which just, I mean, you can just see the costumes, the Strictly fluffy, floaty dress and the beautiful Viennese waltz, and it's just lovely. And it reminds me a little bit of Refreshers, the sweets. So pretty. And this one, I love, this is my favourite name of all of them. Oh, there's a stitch marker on it. Oh, I didn't see that before. There's a little unicorn stitch marker on it. Ah, I'll show you that in a second. But the name of it is called It's a Disaster, Darling, which is something that Craig, one of the UK Strictly Come Dancing judges, says a lot. And this one is sparkly. Really love this one. And that's got a sort of dark midnight blue. And look, there's a little stitch marker that I didn't spot when I opened it. It's a little unicorn. And this is all of the Little French Meadow Strictly yarns together. So pretty. I honestly had to buy all of them because I couldn't decide. I think I'm not going to keep all of them. I think I'm going to give some as gifts because maybe, or maybe I will just keep them. But it'd be more generous of me to give them as gifts, wouldn't it? Or I could just keep them. What would you do? But Alison also popped in something else, and there's going to be another one of these to share with you a bit later as well. I've never seen a bag like this, and I'm looking at it like I want to make bags like this. This is amazing. It's drawstring with a bead that does that, but it's square, but it's like done like an envelope at the bottom, so it's like a square yarn bucket. I just love it, and she sent this for me. I was like, oh my goodness, I keep opening and closing it, and I had the 2 skeins of yarn in there, but actually I can put all 4 of my sock sets and my stitch marker in here, no problem. That's amazing. And there is another one, different but the same, up for grabs as one of the Strictly prizes, which I will share with you shortly. So thank you so much, Alison and Yola, for dyeing such gorgeous yarn. I couldn't resist anything to do with Strictly. I'm a sucker, and I may or may not just keep that all for myself because I'm a yarn pig. Okay, so I'm now going to show you some footage from the Southern Wool Show. Actually, first of all, I'm going to press pause to check how long I've been talking. Okay, I've been talking for quite a long time. My camera's not going to like that. For some reason, if I'm trying to move videos from my phone onto the computer, if I film for over like half an hour in one go, it doesn't like it, and I have to end up splitting them into, anyway, talking about that's not going to make it any shorter, is it? So okay, so I went to the Southern Wool Show, which is the first one. It was held at Newbury Racecourse. I was woefully bad at taking video or pictures, which is silly because it was in an absolutely beautiful location. And it was a beautiful day as well. It was really sunny, it wasn't too hot. And the Newbury Racecourse is just lovely. It's just a lovely venue, like endless parking, lovely views, and the area where you could go and get tea and coffee and cake was massive, massive. You know what yarn shows, it tends to be that when you go to sit down for food, it's queues and it's busy and you can't get anywhere to sit. Not the case at Newbury Racecourse. It's huge. There was more than enough room, and if there wasn't enough room inside, you could take it outside and go and sit on the stands. It honestly, what an amazing venue, and I really hope that the organisers, Nick and Natasha, do it again next year because I will be there like a shot. They did such a good job of arranging that show. My sister and I were really impressed. I've been to a few yarn shows now, and yeah, I did really enjoy it. Not least because I got to meet so many lovely people. My sister and I arrived and we pulled up next to each other in the car park. It was really strange. And then we went in and we met Sarah, Sarah One Daisy from Instagram, who I've met briefly before, but it was so nice to actually sit and have a proper chat with her this time as I was scoffing my cake. And she was wearing this amazing crocheted jumper, and people kept stopping her to comment on it because it was just so beautiful. So it was really lovely to catch up with her, and I bumped in, I've written down everybody I bumped into, at least I hope I did. So I bumped into Sarah and Faye. Well, I kind of stalked Faye for most of the day. I realised that I kind of made a beeline for her stall. So Faye from Knit It, Hook It, Craft It. She also has the Crochet Circle podcast that I've been watching for a long, long time. And she has an amazing range on her stall and her online shop. So I was making a beeline for that, but she was with a customer. So I went to book onto my spinning workshop, and then I kind of hovered again. And then she finished with the customer. I said hello and gave her a hug. And then I kind of went away. And then I came back again with Sarah. And then I went away again. And I sort of came back again to look at her stall. I just feel like every time Faye turned round, I was like, hello, it's me. Like some kind of mad stalker. I even got to glean her. So when I went to get my gleaner, she let me test it on her. So yes, I got to meet Faye, which was really exciting. I got to meet Helen, who is Helen Eccles 1. I got to meet Tamara, who is lovely crafty escapism, who has only just moved back to England from America. And she was also on the same spinning class that we were. I got to meet Sophie Swan, who, by the way, I've only just realised this morning, Sophie, I said it on the day as well, I am such a dork. I've only just realised that you've got a podcast, so I'm going to be adding that to my list of things to watch later today. I also met Flick Merison, who I'm now following on Instagram. Fiona, who is a little bit sheepish, she was the one running the spinning workshop, so that was really good. We had a really good time on the spinning workshop. That's quite addictive. I met Debs, who is Crafty Cat Knitty Bits, who had come on her motorbike with her husband. Debbie, who is down Sheepy Lane. I met Linda, who's Linda Renham, who's someone I know, I've been following each other on Instagram for some time. Oh, and so many other people. I even met Danny of Little Bobbins, and I was honestly such a dork about it. I saw her mum first and automatically thought that I recognised her and therefore it must be someone that my mum knew. Don't know. I was like, oh hi, and then I was like, you actually don't know me. I just watch your podcast and I really like it. Like, you know, you're Danny. And she was like, yeah, oh, it's really nice to meet you. And then she said, oh, I think I recognise you. Don't you have a podcast? And I was like, yeah, you know, cool. Yeah, no, it's great to meet you. Such a dork. I was just a little bit starstruck because I used to watch Danny's podcast, long before I even thought about doing my own podcast. I used to watch it as I walked to work through the park when I worked at Lewisham Hospital. I just couldn't believe I bumped into her, and honestly, I made such a fool of myself. But that's what yarn shows are for. I make a fool of myself every time I podcast, really. So where was I? Yes, so it was such a good day, such a good venue. My sister and I were utterly overwhelmed. We were actually at one point feeling dizzy because we just couldn't take any more yarn. And it was very loud and fun, and it did get a lot quieter towards the afternoon, and that felt really good to just wander around. So yes, so hello to everyone that I met. Sorry if I was a complete dork. And I managed to give out some little skeins of dodgy yarn as well. So I was really excited that I kept forgetting to do it at first, but I bought a bag of little mini skeins that I'd made up of dodgy yarn because I thought it'd be really nice to give people something when I bump into them. So I was really pleased that I got to do that. Anywho, I took some video footage, not enough, but just a little bit, and I put together a little video. It's only a few minutes long. I haven't put any music over it or anything like that. I just wanted to give the general feeling of what it was like to be at the yarn show, just in a sort of 2-minute video. So I'm going to show you that now and then recap a little bit on some of the things that I brought. Good morning and welcome to Saturday, the 1st of September. My apologies for any glaring sunlight around me. It's extremely early in the morning and the sun is at a very awkward angle. It's just before 7:30 on a Saturday morning. Also, apologies if you feel like you're looking straight up my nose. I'm using my husband's car, which is much better for motorway driving than my little Toyota Aygo is. And the setup in here is a little bit different, so my camera is in a different position. So I am on my way. I'm going to stop at the local supermarket to pick up some cash and maybe something to eat. I haven't even had a cup of tea yet. I don't know if they do cups of tea, but if they do, I will get one of those. And then I'll be hitting the M25 to get to Newbury, where the Southern Wool Show is, in time to meet my sister and a couple of Instagram friends, and we're gonna go yarn crazy. Can't wait. Okay, it's filming now. And we really are in soft focus because
I quite like it.
because the light's coming in behind. So this is our
video.
Yeah, in our 80s.
We need a wind machine
video. This is our 80s video to tell you that we're at the Southern Wool Show. Yay! And we've just pulled up in the car park right next to each other, and we both need a wee. And we've got a plan of action, and I printed the floor plan, and we're going to meet Sarah from Instagram shortly to give her ticket, because it's a long story. And we're going to buy yarn. Jenny's just getting her lunch. And she's already got a massive bag of yarn in her car. She doesn't need to go to a yarn show. Ooh, I need more yarn. There are high vis people around now. It's getting serious. Yarn. Jenny is overwhelmed. Kelly, your yarn is here. Fake auntie. Jenny's already bought stuff. She has a haul, but she's put it on the floor, so now we can't see it. And I'll talk about mine later.
Choose a tug of war you're not going to win. I suppose you are, but you're also going to lose, aren't you? Right, let's grab a few of those aforementioned photos.
This is the face, the shame face. Okay, so this isn't included. This is Cammy the Chameleon, who comes with Jenny. This is her kit from the spinning class that we did. And this is all of her yarn. So she's got Dina's Home of Crafts in that lovely colour, Boomtown. The Knitting Suite, that's a really nice colour, in Spice, yes, Spice. Dodgy yarn, get rid of that. Scheme Queen in Abbey Ruins. It's called Abbey Ruins. We used to play at Abbey Ruins when we were little. And Maple Durham. Yeah. And then this is Rosie's Moments called Autumn. And this is Rosie's Moments called Autumn Leaf.
Autumn Floor.
Autumn Floor. And one of these is going to be her Strictly socks. And then from down Sheepy Lane, she got a self-striping sock set in Under the Apple Tree, and so did I. But look, we both chose them with different contrasts. So she's got the yellow, because she got there first, and I got the green, which I really like. And she's got a kit from Watercolours and Lace for the Spring Equinox shawl, which comes with the pattern and the yarn. So that's all of her spoils.
I'm ashamed of myself.
No, she doesn't have a big yarn stash.
I do now.
You do now. And then this is what I got. I got from down Sheepy Lane a sock set, and I like it's eggnog and cinnamon waffles. This purple is for our mum because we forgot to invite her. And this is hot socks, which looked really interesting. They had a sample made up of this, and it kind of knits up like that. So I thought that might be fun, and that's got cashmere in it. This is my down Sheepy Lane. I got one of Claudia's Crochet Sisters pins and one of the West Green Loft Yarns pins and a little down Sheepy Lane button, and 2 pins as a present for my girls from Rosie's Moments. I got a Gleaner from Faye at Knit It, Hook It, Craft It. Hi Faye! And then Sheldon is sitting on my box of stuff from our drop spindling workshop, and this is my knitting Swede. What was the colour? Oh, it was burlesque. It's in the burlesque colour, and I'm going to be making a featherweight cardigan out of that. So I didn't do too badly, and that's a finished thing which you will see at another point in the podcast, or will have already seen. Where are we going?
To the pad. To the pub, because I've got no children. And I don't have to put any children to bed, so we're going to the pub. Pub, pub, pub.
Okay, so you can see that it was a pretty busy show, and we had a lot of fun, and you will have seen also in that video the things that we bought. So I will not go through in detail all the things that I bought again, but I did just want to say I was really pleased that I got my Crochet Luna pin to add to my collection. I love Claudia's podcast, and yeah, it was really good to be able to get something that you see on a US podcast so easily here in the UK. And I bought that from Faye's stall, Knit It, Hook It, Craft It. I also bought, you would have seen some of the sock yarn that I bought, which I will talk about in more detail when I actually knit it up. But my major purchase on the day was my red yarn from the Knitting Suite. So you will notice again that I'm kind of stepping a little bit out of my usual colour palette that I would go for. I like red, and I like to wear red, and red goes with everything really. It goes with black. I wear a lot of vests, and I like to wear cardigans. So this goes with my black vest, it will go with my blue vest, it will go with my stripy vest, and my white vest. So these are the Spartan base from the Knitting Suite, and they're Spartan 150. They're 150 grams each, which means you get 600 meters in each skein. This is the burlesque colorway, and I bought it with the Featherlight cardigan in mind. You can knit the Featherlight cardigan using lace weight yarn, or you can knit it using fingering weight yarn. This is 100% superwash BFL, so it's a little bit hardy. And I didn't want to knit it with lace weight because I didn't think that would wear as well. I've probably got more than I need. I'm hoping I might even have enough to make another small cardigan. I'm not sure. If not, I might make a hat to match because I really love the colour. And that is the Knitting Suite. That was my major purchase. And I also wanted to just mention that the yarn I bought was from, I'll say which yarn, the Hot Socks Pearl Colour yarn, which was this one, which I bought right at the end of the day. It just caught my eye, and it just looks really interesting. And I bought that from the Wool Zone. I actually went to the store purely because there was a man wearing a kilt, and then got hooked in by the yarn. And it's, the colour, in case you're interested, is number 8. Here's the details. It's got cashmere in it. It is a 75% wool, 20% nylon, and 5% cashmere. It's really soft, and it knits up like that. Now, when I took this out of my bag, when I got home, my husband said, "I love those colours. I'd have socks in those colours." And I said, "But isn't it a bit pink?" And he said, "No, even if it was, he wouldn't mind. He's got pink shirts and things." So he actually wants a pair of socks with this. And I got 2 of them, so that's 2 50-gram balls, that should be plenty to make Dan a pair of socks. So I'm glad that it's already been claimed. But I won't go through everything that I bought again because you would have seen it already on the vlog. Okay, so that's everything I'm going to talk about for incoming right now. There is more stuff, but I will share it with you next time. What did we say we were going to talk about next? Right, a blast from the past. So Ellie, again, I think I've left my blast from the past in the other room, so I'll have to go and get it. But first of all, Ellie from the Craft House Magic podcast always does a section on her podcast where she talks about things she's made in the past. That could have been years ago. She's even shared things she made at school. And I thought, I've got quite a lot of stuff that might be interesting to share, so I'm going to do that. And I found something whilst I was clearing out the other day, and I'm going to share that with you. So I'm just going to go and get it from the living room. Okay. Right. So this is the thing that I wanted to share with you as my blast from the past. It's quite strange. So there was a pattern on Ravelry, as far as I can recall, and I did buy the pattern, but in the end I didn't really follow it. I just kind of made it up. But it's for a dress, and I'm going to put a little picture up on the screen of my eldest daughter when she was not so old, wearing this dress. And I made lots of little, this is all just some acrylic, I think it's Cedar Snuggly yarn, I made these little granny squares and sewed them together, and you have a 4 granny square gap between the straps at the back and a 3 granny square gap between the straps at the front. And then I just used the material, and this material was not the right material to use for a dress. It's kind of upholstery fabric, it's really stiff, but she did love it and she did wear it. And that was a little dress that I made for my daughter, and she wore it a lot actually, and she looked super cute in it. And I probably would make it again, but I would use a lot better material for the dress part, something nice and flowy. But that might be something nice to recreate for my youngest daughter. And I would probably use a cotton yarn for the top bit as well, just to make it more easy to wear in the summer. So that's my blast from the past. Okay, I'm going to take a mouthful of my drink because the time has come to talk about the Strictly 2018 Sock Along. Yay! So today's Thursday, the 6th of September, and the launch show is this Saturday, the 8th of September, but that's not when it starts. We're going to start the Sock Along on the first live show, which should be on Saturday the 22nd of September. I don't think they've confirmed it yet, but it's looking likely. That said, some people have started already in the true spirit of rule bending of the Sock Along. Some people have started already because I believe that the Norwegian version of Strictly Come Dancing or Dancing with the Stars has already started. So some people have already started knitting their socks. The chatter thread is really lively. There's loads of people sharing their ideas, what they're going to use to make their socks, their project bags, and how they might go about bending the rules. Excuse me one moment. Talking so much it's making my nose run. Okay, so it's important to note, if you do not know what the Strictly Sock Along is and you do not think you are interested in it, that's fine. You can skip forward to the next bit, use the timestamps below, but I would highly recommend you stick around, because last time on the podcast I showed some of the lovely prizes that I had to give away, and I had at that point some amazing prizes, some yarny goodness to give away, and I said, but if you would like to donate a prize for the Strictly Sock Along, do get in touch. And oh my goodness, I was not expecting the response to that I got. Some amazing makers got in touch with me and have sent me incredible things, which I'm going to show you now. So we've got 5 categories for prizes, and the 5 categories are the 10 from Len prize, and this will be a random prize drawn from the chatter thread when the first 10 on our UK Strictly Come Dancing is given. So I will draw a prize winner at that point. I will have a rule bending prize, which will be chosen by me, not at random. I will choose it for exceptional rule bending and cunning, and that will be awarded at the end of the cow. And actually I'm going to award that at least twice. So I will pick, I think I did that last year as well. There was at least 2 people that won prizes for exceptional rule bending. So I'm gonna do 2 prizes for that. There's the Made It to Blackpool prize, which will be drawn at random from the FO thread for everybody that has a finished pair of Strictly socks in the FO thread by the Blackpool episode. I'm going to put all of the dates for these on the Ravelry thread today, so by the time this podcast goes live, all the dates you need to know will be on the threads on Ravelry. And I'm going, the 4th prize category is the Halloween prize, which will be drawn on the day after the Halloween episode goes live. And that will be a random number generator from the FO thread. So if you've got a finished object in the FO thread by the Halloween episode, then you will be eligible to be in the draw for that. That'll be 1 prize, and then there'll be 2 overall fabulous prizes right at the end, and I will draw 1 from the chatter thread and 1 from the FO thread. And if I have an excess of prizes, I will draw more. So at the moment that equals 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 7 prizes, and I'm going to have more than that. So anything extra, I will draw additional winners from the chatter and FO thread for the overall prize at the end of the sock along. That's what I'm going to do, and that will all be random. And the prizes, oh my goodness. I just thank you so much to everybody who responded, even people who don't, you know, like myself, I don't sell anything that I make. I'm not even that good at making things to give away because I'm so slow. But people who don't sell things have donated things to give us a prize, which is just incredible and so generous to want to get involved and just spread all the silliness and the happiness. I love giving stuff away because it means everyone gets that little chance to just get a bit of Strictly happiness going in their lives. So the first thing I want, so I've got a very long list and I've put together all the Strictly prize parcels. So give me a moment and I'm going to get them up on the table so I can reach them. Tell you what, things are getting seriously out of hand in my house. I've just moved all the stuff I've just talked about into the living room, and now I can't really get into the living room. There's just so much yarn. I'm going to have to like build a yarn shed or something. Right, Strictly prizes. Let's get stuck in. So I talked about some of the lovely yarn that I had been given already by some amazing dyers in the last episode. So you will recall that from Nikki at Little Stone Cottage Yarns, I had the Daisy Toes colourway. I'm going to go through this quite quickly. And from Elliot Craft House Magic, I had a beautiful little mini skein with a bee stitch marker, and also a little mini skein set with some of her 80s songs inspired colourways in it, which is just lovely. So those are all some of the stuff I talked about last time. I've also paired up some of the stuff I talked about last time with some of the newer prizes that are coming in. So first off, I want to talk about the lovely Sam and Sandra. Excuse the rustling for 1 minute. Okay. Oops. So, as you know, Sam, who is Betsy Makes, very, very brilliantly came up with an amazing Strictly colourway, especially for this year's sock along. And she has now, she had some of those in her shop. I think they have sold out, but I think she has also put in pre-order slots so that if you want it, you can go and buy it, and then she can gauge the demand for it and dye it pretty much to order, I think. But if that's wrong, go along to her shop. It's Betsy Makes on Etsy, and it'll all be in the description there. And the yarn is limoncello, and it is gorgeous. And this skein is one to give away as one of the prizes. It's sparkly and it is just beautiful, and obviously it's yellow. It's my favourite colour. It's got gold stellina in it. It's kind of like a goldy silver. I think I described it last time as liquid glitter, and I think that would be the perfect description. Oh look, it kind of blends in with my t-shirt. But along with that, she said, oh, I'll send you a skein for you. Thank you, Sam. And a skein for and a skein for the prize. And she also sent a bag. I'm getting this sense of deja vu, like I've already talked about it. I can't have done though. I'm pretty sure I didn't have this before I went away to Denmark. But if I have, you're going to see it again. So this is the gorgeous bag. And I've got one of these too, that goes with the yarn. And everything Sam does is just, I mean, she does it to perfection. So this is no exception. We'll have her little Betsy Makes thing there. It's this beautiful kind of canvas bottom and the bright yellow flowery fabric. And on the inside, it's yellow and it's a drawstring. I'm not going to do this to the other one because this one's mine. So just so you can see. I just love it so much. So she's given me another one of those as a prize, along with the limoncello Strictly yarn, and that is going to be one of the prizes for the sock along. I need to decide which prize is going to go with which category, but I'm pretty sure this one's going to be in one of the overall fabulous prizes, because it was so specific to the sock along. And this one is mine. I'm going to put my little card that she sent me in there. And I will be winding up my own yarn later on today all ready for the sock along at the end of the month. I have just had my own yarn just sitting over there on my sideboard, and I can't bring myself to wind it up because it's just so pretty. It just looks like a little yarny ornament. I just like having it sitting there on the side. And the other amazing prize that I have, and I'm actually going to do this right now. I'm going to have one of these to give away as a prize as part of the sock along, but I've also got a copy to give away right now, and that is Sandra's amazing, Sandra of Cherry Heart. She made Strictly socks last year, and she kind of made up a pattern, and she's written that pattern up properly and made it into a dedicated Strictly sock along pattern. They are called the Cha chevron socks, and I can't say cha without saying it like Craig Revel Hallward, and he always says cha. So they are the cha chevron socks. I just love them so much. I can't wait to make them. And look at the photography that she's got there as well. Oh, just so clever, and the pattern is so beautifully set out. And I've got a copy of this to give away. It is a paid for pattern, but there's going to be a throughout the sock along, so starting pretty much now, I think, until the end of the sock along at the end of December, you can get 30% off of this pattern on Ravelry with the code STRICTLY2018. But you can also be in with a chance of winning a copy as part of the sock along prize, or as a prize right now. So I'm going to podcast again in 2 weeks' time, and I'm going to announce the winner. So go along to Ravelry. I'm going to open a thread called the Cha Chevron giveaway thread, and if you could just pop in there and tell me the name of, tell me in your country, do you have Strictly Come Dancing, and if so, what is it called in your language? So I know that in Norway it's called Dancing with the Stars, but obviously it's Dancing with the Stars in Norwegian. In Finland, I think it's Dancing with the Stars in Finnish as well. So just pop along to that Ravelry thread and tell me what Strictly Come Dancing is in your country. I will draw the winner at random just before I do my next podcast in 2 weeks. So hop on over there. You could win this amazing pattern. And this is going to be the pattern that I'm using for my own Strictly socks this year. So I am going to pop my copy in my yellow bag, all ready to go. I am almost Strictly ready. I just need to wind my yarn up and choose my needles. Who knows? Might be the first year I do DPN Strictly socks. Probably not, but let's not get carried away. So those are the two first prizes to share with you. Then I have got one of the skeins of yarn I shared with you last time from lovely Hayley at Ducky Darlings Yarn. This is the Autumn Days colour. I love this. I just love this yarn. This colour is perfect for this time of year. And I'm going to put with that one of my dodgy bags. So this is made with, the grey is organic cotton, and the print on it is actually a cotton flower, and the flower says organic cotton. And then the sunshine fabric is my mum's old Christmas tablecloth. So it really does have a lot of meaning to me, at least. And it's a really pretty sort of half Christmassy, half Strictly fabric. So I'm going to put the yarn with that dodgy bag, and I will also pop in one of lovely Claudia's dodgy bag club pins. She gave me some that I could have to give away, and she sells them in her shop as well, and she's very generously donating some of the profits from the sale of those buttons to Parkinson's Research Charity here in the UK. So thank you very much, Claudia, for that. And that's another one of the prizes. Okay. There's more. I hope you're settled in, because there's more. Lovely Suzanne. And she is inside number, and I can never remember the number. So I'm going to put it on the screen on Instagram. She is Danish, and she has been very helpful to me in working out how to pronounce certain things in Danish, because I am still trying and failing to learn Danish. She got in touch and said, oh, I could send you a bag as a prize for the sock along, you know, it wouldn't be much, but I could send that. And I said, well, that would be fantastic, that would be lots, thank you. And when I opened it, I was blown away by this. This is the bag that she sent as part of as a prize. It's all quilted. Look at the star quilting. I have no idea if I'm showing this to you properly. And look, it's a drawstring bag. Looks like a Cath Kidston fabric. It's got this amazing big handle there that matches. And then on the inside, it's lined with this beautiful, what looks like Cath Kidston fabric. And it's just so beautifully made. And not only that, oh, it's even got that little tag there as well. Oh, that's the drawstring tag. Stay with the programme. So it's a drawstring bag. And oh, how gorgeous is that? The way it kind of poofs up at the top. Because the drawstring doesn't sit right at the top. So it just creates like this flower at the top. Oh, it's just beautifully made. Thank you so much, Suzanne. That's incredibly generous of you. She's such a lovely lady. And she even popped in 2 balls of Louisa Harding Amitola yarn. Now I've used this. I made my mum a scarf for her birthday using this Amitola yarn, and I really liked it. It's an ombre yarn, so it goes you know, from one colour to the next. It's got a kind of graduation of colours. I used one that was in a purple colour. This one is colour 121. And she's put 2 balls of that to include as part of the prize. So I'm going to pop that in there, and that is another one of the amazing prizes. Actually, I'm going to not put them in there because I want to keep that flat. So thank you so much, Suzanne. That was such a lovely thing to do. Thank you. And yeah, still not finished. Bear with me. Then, lovely, lovely Conchetta. And I am pronouncing that right because I checked. So lovely Conchetta, who has the Butternut Handmade UK shop on Etsy. She makes amazing project bags, really, really lovely, using gorgeous fabric. And she said, I'd love to send a bag as a prize for the sock along, and she did, and it is gorgeous. Honestly, so gorgeous. And she said I can keep one. She sent me 2, which I honestly did not expect. And I have agonised somewhat over which one to keep, but I think I've now decided. So the one I'm keeping is this one. I just love the colours. Look at the print. Oh, little snow-capped mountains and fir trees and little Christmassy stars. And there's even a tiny little, cosy little house nestled away there in that snowy forest. Little sock size bag. This one's my one. Thank you, Conchetta. I love it. And for the prize, you will see now why I struggled somewhat with choosing. Oh, this is her Butternut Handmade card. She's on Instagram as Conchetta. Oh, you can see it there. I'm not going to try and pronounce it. She's got a lovely Instagram feed. And I'll pop that in there for the winner. This is the bag. It's the same fabric in a different colour. Oh, it is beautiful. Oh, maybe, no. I've made my choice. I've made my choice. It's a kind of midnight blue colour. And the little huts on this one are kind of, the other ones are kind of not filled in, but these ones are. It's the same snowy forest though, with the cosy little cabin in the woods. And I'll put, and on the inside it's kind of lined with this lovely kind of linen. I think that's the right kind of thing. And look, it's got her little tag in it. And I'm going to put her little thing in there. And I'm also going to pop in with that bag because I thought it matched really nicely. The Coral Reef mini set from Little Stone Cottage yarn. And I just thought that the colours went really nicely with the bag. So that's going to be another prize. Told you they were amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's not all, haven't finished yet. From Little French Meadow, trying to minimalise the rustling here. I've also got another one of those square bucket bags, but in a different fabric. So she's put it all together in this lovely package. So that's the fabric of the square bag. So it's just like mine that I showed you earlier, but in this beautiful light blue tealy daisy fabric. And the colour of the, what was the colour? Sorry about the rustling. Okay. Look at this. This is another, and I believe a one-off, I'm not sure, strictly inspired yarn in the American Smooth colourway. Oh my giddy aunt, so gorgeous. And of course a little French meadow sunflower stitch marker, and there's some peppermint tea in there as well, and one of their cards. So that is one prize package all ready to go, and that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Alison and Yola. They're always so generous to this podcast and to me, and yeah, I feel very lucky. And whoever wins this is going to be very lucky. Whoever wins any of these amazing things, you're going to be very lucky. So I'm going to pop that there. And then I've got more stuff coming as well. I mean, that's the thing that's mind-blowing. This is, I'm about to show you one more prize, but there is more stuff on its way. So it's really worth joining in with the fun, not least because it is a lot of fun. We all try to cheat and just basically get around the rules as best we can. And it is, you know, it's Strictly season. It's the best time of the year. I got a box through the post from lovely Eva, who has the Cocoa and Flora podcast. Oh no, slightly squished. So it's got this lovely little card that she sent me. So she has the Cocoa and Flora podcast, and on Etsy she is Cocoa and Flora. Yes, I'm pretty sure she's Cocoa and Flora on Etsy, but I will double check that in a minute because I think I've got one of her cards. So she said, could she send a bag for the sock along? And I knew the bag was going to be good. I knew it would be good because I've seen the stuff in her Etsy shop. I have put stuff in my basket on her Etsy shop and then gone, oh my God, I can't just yet. So I knew it was going to be good, but I did not expect her to pop in the extras that she sent me. So she sent me my own bag, which I shall show you, but she also sent me this. She said this might help you when you're sewing your dodgy bags. It's a handmade pin cushion that looks like a pear with little felt leaves. My Phoebe absolutely squealed when she saw this come out of the box. And look at the little pins on it. Little teapot and a little cake and leaf. It's utterly gorgeous. Thank you so much, Eva. That is going to have pride of place over there on my shelves, and I will use it, but mainly I'm going to look at it. It's just so lovely and firm and squeezable as well. I just love it. I wish I could make stuff like this. I'm assuming you made it, Eva. I'm pretty sure you did. And she said that would help me with my dodgy bag sewing, which it definitely will. She also popped in some sweeties, one of which was flying saucers. Now, I am very fortunate, and my husband doesn't like flying saucers, but I do, and my girls love them. So we've agreed that that's going to be our Friday night treat. And she also put some of these in, which I have already been at. They're salted caramel honeycomb dips, and they are lovely. Get stuck in your teeth in that lovely honeycomby way. Where was I? Yes, so she sent me a bag. So I'm going to show you the bag she sent me first, and then I'm going to show you what she sent as a prize. Now, I knew from looking at her shop that this was going to be good. But what I didn't expect was the attention to detail that she has put into every single part of this. So the bag that she sent me has got a kind of little Drops of Wonderful theme because it's got umbrellas on it. How cute is that fabric? And it's got a really good size strap made from the same fabric. And look at the little stitch marker that she's popped on. It's a little umbrella to match it. It's got a little tag at this end as well. It's beautifully made, and it's got this lovely pastel yellow zip. And then inside, just can't get over this, it's lined with this beautiful blue polka dot, and there's a little pocket, which is going to be really hard to show, that's made out of the same outside fabric. And then she put in a needle holder as well. And it goes with the theme of umbrellas and raindrops and little drops of I've never seen a needle holder like that. How sweet is that? Look, the buttons are the cloud's cheeks. It's so cute. And that is lined with the same lining as the bag is, and inside it has got her little label. Is there a label? There's no label inside the bag. So I'm going to show you this one. I'm going to open it up. That nice satisfying snapping noise. And that's her label on the inside. It's the attention to like how it all matches, and the detail is amazing. But it doesn't stop there. There's also inside this tiny little stitch marker tin with her logo on it, Coco and Flora, and inside here, oops, the stitch marker tin is lined, it's going to be so hard to show you without dropping everything, is lined with the same fabric that the bag is made from, and the stitch markers are all, there's another little, hang on a minute, I'm going to have to cover my face. Let's put it on here. There's another little umbrella, and then the rest of them are all, ooh, where are you? Little raindrops. And you see, and she said they reminded her of little drops of wonderful. It's just all so coordinated and matching, and I love it. I love it so much. Eva, you are so clever, and you have such a lovely eye for putting putting things together. I'm blown away by that. So then by the time I'd opened that and started on the chocolates, I was just like, I didn't know what to expect when I was going to open the prize one. Now I've tried to keep this all together as much as I can. So it says strictly sock along prize bag. It's a sock size with a DBN holder and some stitch markers. So I've opened this as carefully as I can because I wanted to see it and show it to you. And I'm going to wrap it back up again after I've showed you. So this fabric, and again the detail. So this fabric is a gorgeous little woodland deer fabric with a denim coloured base and a matching tag, a little tiny tag there. And this time, look at the little coordinating stitch marker. And then on the inside, it's lined with this beautiful green flowery fabric, and again it's got the pocket and her label. And you've got the little matching DPN holder with the flowers, and it's got the same lining as the bag. And again, her little label even inside there. Ah, here is her card, which I shall keep in the winner's thing, in the winner's bag. So this is her card, Coco and Flora, and this is her Etsy shop. There we go. And again, tiny little tin, and so you know which one is the top, there's a little sticker to show you which is the top. And when you unscrew it, again, it is lined with the same fabric that the bag is lined in, and it has got these beautiful coordinating stitch markers, one of which is this one. So pretty. Stand up again. Look at that. So beautiful. So that is another amazing prize. Thank you to everybody who has taken the time and the talent to send yarn and project bags and other little tokens that I can put to give away as prizes for the sock along. I am blown away by how generous and wonderful this community is. I wish I had the same skills as you, so that I could do more of what you do, in that I could make and give away things of that high quality that you've all given to the sock along. Am I rambling? I think it's about that time in the podcast when I start rambling, isn't it? I'm just re-wrapping that up so that that is now ready for the prize winner. The next person to open that is the prize winner. There you go, it's all safely away. So that is everything for now. Like I say, there is more coming, if you can even believe that. So what an amazing bunch of prizes we have to look forward to for the sock along. Thank you everybody. And I've said that, haven't I? Thank you so much. I am blown away. And I'm blown away by your generosity towards me as well. I don't deserve it, and thank you. And I should also say that double dipping, triple dipping, quadruple dipping in other cows is absolutely encouraged. You should definitely go ahead. If you're already making socks for another sock along or another cow of any kind, please feel free to double dip into the Strictly Sock Along too, particularly if you are crocheting socks for the Crochet Sock Along that Faye from the Crochet Circle podcast is starting on the weekend of Yarndale, I think. I think they're going to kick it off there, which is the last weekend of September. So do feel free to put your crochet socks into the Strictly Sock Along. Okay. My final thing, before I show you a little vlog from our Danish experience, is, I'm quite far away from the camera today, so I can't really see properly. My fringe is like sticking up in different places. I can see I've now left the door open, but never mind. Yes, for my and finally bit, there was one thing I wanted to mention. It's entirely unrelated to anything else I usually talk about. So the and finally section is where I talk about whatever I want, and I'm only going to talk for about a minute on this subject. French onion soup. I love packet, so dried, that you make, you get it in a packet, it's dried, and you add hot water, French onion soup. When I was ill after I had my operation in 2012, I couldn't really eat much, but I really craved umami, the flavour you get from meat, a very, very savoury flavour. And packet French onion soup really hit the nail on the head. We used to have it growing up. We used to have it on a Wednesday night because that was swimming night. So we used to have packet French onion soup before swimming because it didn't fill our tummies up so much before we swam. We used to have it on holidays. We used to take it with us from England when we went camping in France to have our packet French onion soup for lunch in the tent. All of a sudden, you can't get it anymore. In the last 6 months, French onion soup, packet, not tinned, packet dried French onion soup has disappeared from supermarket shelves here in the UK. I can't find it anywhere. Why? Does anyone know why? What has happened to French onion soup? I know one of you will know, so please tell me, because I really need to find some. The last make that I had was Ainsley Harriott. I used to get it in Asda's, Ainsley Harriott, packet French onion soup. Doesn't exist anymore. Why? Where's it gone? Why? That's all I'm saying on the matter, and if anyone knows the answer to that conundrum, please tell me. Moving on. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I've got a feeling it's going to be painfully long, and I will be back again in 2 weeks' time. Yes, I'm going to podcast again very soon in the next couple of weeks, so I can draw a winner in time for Sandra's beautiful sock pattern, so that you will get that in time to make them for the Strictly Sock Along. If you're joining in, let me know. Come along to the Ravelry chatter group, have a chat with us, let us know you're joining in, let us know in the comments below, yeah, share your yarn choices. And if you don't have your yarn, get yourself to the Betsy Makes Etsy store, buy yourself some limoncello, or get yourself to Little French Meadow even, because I've shown you my slight purchase accident. So there are lots of beautiful sparkly yarns and strictly themed colourways that you can choose from out there, and I cannot wait to see what you will come up with. And until next time, have a lovely time crocheting, knitting, drinking tea, eating cake, etc. And I will now show you a little bit of Denmark. Bye!
doing, Phoebe?
We are going to the Little Mermaid.
It's a nice sunny day.
Uh-huh.